Welcome to the Simple Software Training University video number 215, the index menu. In this video, we will go over all of the options in the index menu. This menu is for saving and manipulating values and images for indexing purposes. First of all, we'll open Simple Index and we'll open this default configuration that I have set up for demonstrating the index menu. First of all, if we go to the index menu, we'll notice that most of the options are grayed out, mainly due to the fact that these are only optional when you're in the middle of a batch. So the first thing we need to do is run the job so we can be in the middle of a batch to use the index menu. So now we see in the index menu that all the options are highlighted and selectable and no longer grayed out. So the first two options in the index menu are the Save Index Values and Save All with Current Values. You'll be quite familiar with all these two options here because they directly correspond to the Save All button and the Save Index button. So of course Save Index Values is the Save Index button and Save All with Current Values is the Save All button. So just like it was reviewed in practically most of all the other videos that we have, Save Index saves the index values for the image that you're on. Save All saves all the index values in the entire batch with what was recognized or what was carried forward. And of course, if I hit Save All here, it saves out of the batch and saves everything with the indexes that I just put in. So let's run this again. Next is the Find and List capability. So our company name field is a list field, which we can see here. It's rather short, but once you get a very long list for your drop-downs, it can get quite time-consuming to find the value that you want in your list. Or you can also type in a list, as you know. So if I type tech here, it fills in alphabetically with the value. But if I want to find something in the list that isn't in the beginning, I use the Find and List capability, or Control F. So if I do a search for type, it'll find anything that has that value within the list, which in this case is tech type interfaces. That way you can easily find something in the list, even if it's not at the beginning of the list, without having to scroll through the drop-down. Refresh Lists, or Control Q as the shortcut, allows you to refresh the drop-down list that you have if you make changes to it. So in this particular one, we have a list that's in this folder here as a text file. So if I make a change, it doesn't show up in the list automatically unless you go to the index menu and hit Refresh List or Control Q. Now it automatically puts it alphabetically in the drop-down, and as we see here it says Change to List, and I can select it. Edit Text is for index fields that have a lot of text in the field that's much longer, as we can see here, than what is actually displayed to the right. So if we go to Edit Text or Control E, it pulls up all the text in a much easier to see window. And you can also use the Format button to format the text in a certain formatting for display purposes. Of course, any changes you make to the edit text gets changed in the field. And now as we see here, that information is deleted from the beginning. The options here are for manipulating the images currently in the batch. The first is mark/unmark for deletion. The reason it says delete in that way is because when you mark it for deletion, it only marks it for deletion once the batch has been released. Or if you want to unmark something that you've either incorrectly marked or has been, say, deleted for a barcode or a blank page recognition, you can unmark it for deletion, and that way it won't delete that particular page when the badge is released. You can also do Shift Delete, which is the same option, or you can use the delete button here. Duplicate file duplicates the current image that you're on, so that way you have two copies of it. That way if you want to change index values and have multiple images with the same image but different index values, you can do that. So in this particular image, we're going to duplicate it, and now we see we're on file 2 of 4 here. So we can put this one as dictated record storage, but we can make this one a different name. And even though they're the exact same image, we can give them different index values. That way they're saved as separate records. Of course, you can use the Shift Insert to duplicate file, or you can use the Duplicate File button here. Next is Insert File, or Control Insert. And what that does is it actually inserts an image or images before the currently displayed image. And when you click it, it allows you to pick Scanner if you want to scan with the currently attached scanner, or Existing File if you want to import an existing file. So we can pick a certain file if we'd like. We've got to pick the right folder. Or we can pick one, or we can pick multiples. Keep in mind, if you pick multiples or a multi-page image, it adds all the files to a multi-page image in the batch. So all of those images must be contained within one set of indexes. Finally, we have Undo Changes, or Control Z. What that does is any changes that we make without saving them. So for instance, on this page, if we pick Firefly, we can go to the index and undo changes, and it removes that because we haven't saved the indexes. This also applies for deletions and any sort of manipulation that you want to use on the images, including, like, say, crop or annotate, which are gone over in another video. That's the end of the SimpleSoftware Training University video number 215, the index menu. We've seen how to use the index menu to save indexes, refresh and search lists, as well as manipulate images already in the batch.